I'd like to say that the heart is also part of facility management.
Who will manage it? Adaora. Adaora will tell us about that.
One of the managers is also here to talk about it, but in the stead of writing a book around managing the facility called Heart. Don't mind me, I was just playing around the words. But our next interview talks about love. And we have an author here in the studio. So we have two Adaoras now in the studio. We have Adaora by my side, and then there's another Adaora.
I just sent your side.
Yeah.
In the middle.
Was the author of a new novel. You need to read this novel.
Absolutely.
Very well captured. It's titled Rona'sTrauma. And Adaora Nwodo, who's also a lawyer, is here in the studio. Tell us more about it. Welcome, Adaora.
Thank you for having me.
Great.
First of all, I think I'm intrigued that it's based on a true life story. It's very explanatory and yet very deep at the same time. So tell us what inspired it. I know that is speaking to a lot of girls and young.
Yes, it is.
But tell us how you got to that point.
So Rona'sTrauma. First and foremost, I'll tell you how the name came about, because people keep asking me, who's Rona? Rona is nobody, actually. The whole setting of the book was actually around happenings that happened during the lockdown period with the COVID. So the corona is where the Rona came from. So it's pretty much the trauma that happened during the lockdown of the coronavirus. So that's the caption of the name, putting everyone at ease. So pretty much it was about Kosi, like you said. It's pretty much a true life story around happenings that happened to someone. And she literally gave me her whole story. And I found bits and bits of me as well in that story as well. I went through similar situations. So it's a cocktail of my personal stories and stories I gathered at the time when I was writing it. So yeah, it's a journey, managing love.
Managing love.
The facility of the heart.
Inspired by my gender. Interesting. Okay, so I mean, you're a lawyer. In between writing briefs and so many other things you do around you being a member of the Temple of Justice, where did that inspiration to write come from?
So yes, I am a lawyer, but I'm not a practicing lawyer. Actually, I'm a HR consultant and media specialist as well. But I'm a creative, so I write short stories. I write films. I have a film that I did 2 years ago on sickle cell. And because I like the act of storytelling, narration is like second nature to me. When I got the story of this book that I wrote, it was like, wow. So there's so many more people out there that are living this kind of experience. And at that time, I was going through my own situations as well. And I was in therapy, ironically. And my therapist was like...
Does it have anything to do with love?
Yeah.
Yeah, love. I mean, that's...
Yes. And he was like, you know what? You should get a journal and start putting down your thoughts. And we started putting down our thoughts every other day. And before you knew it, we had a whole book. And he was like, you know, this would make for a great book. And I was like, I'm not an author. I don't know about that. But gradually we started trying to put it together. And it took me, believe me or not, 2.5 years to do this. Because at intervals, every time I started writing, the emotions got so much. And I just shut it down and left it for a couple of months and came back. It was a journey. But yes, I think I've come to realize that I might have a thing for writing, because the reviews I've gotten have been very impressive. So maybe there'll be more of that.
Okay. All right, let me look at the fact that, I mean, I like your use of words. I see where you played with metaphor, you know, idioms, and I think it was in chapter 1 or 2 where you said, there was a line that said, idiotic mass of beautiful nonsense. I'm like, okay. That's a mouthful, but it was nice to see that, you know, outburst. Any interest, you know, did anything trigger that? I mean, it seems you have some poetic side to you.
I think there's so much happening in my head. Sometimes I feel like I have multiple people living up in there and they have full-on conversations. Sometimes I go back and read things I say and I'm like, who said that? So like I said, I'm very creative. I'm very visual because I'm into film production. So whenever I write, I try to picture what I'm writing and I try to imagine it in reality.
So you think in pictures?
Yes, I think pictures, I think visuals, and then I try my best to describe every single word so that you can actually visualize what I'm saying. So there's no creative secret inspiration. It's just all up in here.
Interesting. So I'd like that you tell us about the book without revealing the book. Just summarize it. So.
That is hard. But like I said, it's just about a young girl who every young girl at marriageable age in Africa can associate with or relate with, who was out there looking for love. And, the pressures in the society in Africa today of getting married, go and settle down. And then she finds this great guy, as a case of boy meets girl, amazing. The love sparks up in seconds.
Has beard, yeah?
Yeah.
Perry.
So literally,
they
fell instantly. But, the challenges we face in Africa today kind of just overwhelmed them. Particularly for this couple, it was a case of social background differences mainly. And the lady, Kosi, was from a higher background than, Kamdi. And they struggled to try and get people, especially their families, to accept them for what they really felt they had. People saw Kamdi as a gold digger. Kamdi's family saw Kosi as taking advantage of their son. And they had all that struggle. But then they conquered. As you believe, love should conquer all, right? Like they said, they did. And then lockdown came, and just like loads of families in Africa and worldwide, the lockdown came with so many challenges for couples and families at large, and they went through their own fair share at the time. And these all threw Kosi into turmoil of emotional and psychological abuse, which led to mental health breakdown. And it just pretty much tells us how that story ended.
Okay, I know I don't Perry just gave me an insight. I don't read the whole book, but haven't read it. I know that chapter 9 for me, should I say what the theme is? Well,
you can.
The heat is on,
Yes.
for chapter 9. And it sort of unveiled the role of parenting and family backgrounding and relationship with, because this is a young girl who everybody wants to get married, and then she finds this guy and they're telling the guy, putting pressure on him and all of that. And then he, in just a twinkle of an eye, he says it's done. So what the third party thing where parents come into relationships? How can that really be managed?
It's a big thing. It's a big thing. And I think it's a major thing in Africa. A lot of people are dealing with that. There's so much parent influence in relationships today. And don't get me wrong, I think parents have good intentions. Sometimes it's the overprotective mother hen situation that happens in there. However, I do say that when a child becomes an age to get married, they've become an adult, and parents need to take a step back. If you've done your job training your child, I think you should have trust that that child can make the right decisions. Now, however, for men in particular, I would say, if we want to do it right and do it the Bible way, it says that a man shall leave and cleave with his wife. And that means you become one. For you to get to the point where you say, I am ready to take this step, you should be ready to leave and cleave. And that simply means you should be ready to take decisions with your partner and no longer with your mom or your dad or your siblings. It's a very hard nut to chew in this part of the world because it's very difficult to detach. So many people are still connected to the family they know than the person they just met. But we need to be very careful because, for some people, the ladies in particular, they're leaving their family and the family they understand and they know to become one with someone else who is not a family they've grown up with. It's a struggle. So their go-to is to run back to mommy or daddy at every interval, which is fine sometimes. But the parents need to learn to advise without overly influencing the decisions. Ultimately, guide your child in the right way, but let them make the ultimate decisions. Only when you see it's detrimental to their life or their health, then you can pull out. But I think people should be careful the amount of information they take back home to the family and the siblings, because when you're in love, it's easy to get triggered, but when you take that home or to your friends and your family, they don't forgive as much as you would. And when you forgive and get back, your family will hold that over your partner forever, and that brings a lot of turmoil in relationships. So people need to be very careful. It's destroyed a lot of amazing, or would have been amazing, relationships today.
So where's the safe place then?
God. I know I say this a lot, and people think that is just over spiritual, but I think it's God. For me, on my journey, I found out that there's so much peace and answers when you take it to God. If you read the book, you would find that every chapter has a scripture.
Yeah, I saw one you did, John 14:27.
There you go.
I give you peace.
It gives you peace. And I found that. I've been a Christian my whole life, but I think during my time writing this book, I found a deeper relationship with God. And I realized that truly, as the Bible says, that his plans are for good and not of evil. So if you trust the process, it would be seamless. It would be peaceful. Things that feel like the burden is too much, like when the heat was on, like all the other times when the Shirley and all of that, it was a lot. And, you know, if you're in that situation, you would not understand how you would ever be able to come out of it. But when you take it to God, He's above your dad or your mom or your friends or even the therapist, you would find internal peace.
So God is the facility manager, which is the heart.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. He is always facility manager of everything, not just the heart.
All right, I'm with God as the facility manager. It's good to know that the distinguished personalities in your head after the meeting came out of the book and it has gone to press. Can you tell us a lot about the launch?
Okay, so the launch is going to be on Sunday, the 14th of May, 2023. That's in a couple of days. And it's going to be at Wuse 2, Tot Pyramid, at Libreville, 18 Libreville Crescent, Wuse 2 at 2 p.m. Now, the launch is going to have a panel. So we're going to have a panel discussion, which has therapists, relationship coach, psychologists, divorce lawyers, and a priest. Ironically, the priest on this panel was my therapist during my time. So it's an amazing honor to have him come here and hopefully help people go through what he helped me with. So I would advise, the topic is how to maintain your mental health without losing yourself in a marriage or relationship. I think every woman or man needs to key into that topic because it's key. And bear in mind, it's not only women that go through this.
Listen, I was going to ask Perry, do men get burnt like that?
Yeah, we do like that.
Of course, they cry.
We just try to man up emotions and play video games.
So when you're not crying, you're inside, you're dying.
It hurts.
Oh, wow. So we should let men cry more often.
I think so too, but we should see that too. It would help us, adjust how we act as well. We just think you guys don't cry.
No, we do. Breakfast is real.
Amazing.
All right, we'll be having special guests at that event if you want to come. I mean, she's just laid an open call for you. We would have Mother of the Day, Ambassador Kema Chikwem, Minister Pauline Talon, and Senator Grace Brent. The list is endless. We wish you all the best.
Thank you so much.
And your healing is complete?
Yes, it is by the special grace of God, and hopefully everyone else out there will have healing as well.
Okay, this is me sending you an emoji right now.
Back to you too. Thanks for having me.
All right, well, we'll take a quick break and then we'll bring you entertainment and lifestyle.